Hi, I'm Bhavish, and in this video series, we are learning CL. Let us begin with today's video Introduction to IBM and CL. So, the format of this video is going to be reading an article, and I'm going to read the article with you, and I'm going to understand with you. So, we are going to learn together. Let's begin. Welcome to the first step of your journey into CL programming. In this article, we'll provide an in-depth introduction to IBM, often known as AS400, and the role of CL within the system. By understanding the foundational concepts of IBM and the role that CL plays in it, you'll be well equipped to begin writing your own CL programs. Now, we have created many videos before explaining the basics of AS400 and CL. This is a repetition, but still it is worthwhile to go through the article. What is IBM? IBM is an operating system developed by IBM for its family of power systems hardware, formerly known as AS400. It is a robust, integrated, and highly secure platform widely used in enterprise environments for managing business-critical applications and data. The system has evolved over decades from its origins in the 1980s as the AS400 to becoming IBM I series and now is referred simply as IBM I. So IBM I or AS400, basically the sales team did a, I'm not sure if it is a good thing or a bad thing, but they renamed this so many times that people have lost the track of what it is called anymore. The traditional name AS400 still stays, but the modern system is no longer called AS400 according to IBM. It is supposed to be power systems on the hardware side and it is IBM I on the operating system side. They have changed the name throughout so many years, many times, changing it from I series and so on. So there is a very good article on all the names in the entire history. You can go to Go for AS400, and on Go for AS400 website, there is proper documentation on how IBM messed up its naming, kept on changing it again and again. But that's what we have now. IBM I as the OS and Power Systems as the hardware. Yes, it is robust, integrated, highly secure. Those are the major selling points, and it really is very robust. The uptime is excellent in the industry, unmatched. It is just like a mini mainframe. IBM I is designed for both transactional and batch processing, supporting thousands of users simultaneously while ensuring high availability, reliability, and data integrity. It integrates a range of technologies, including databases, user interfaces, job scheduling, and networking into one cohesive system. Companies across industries use it for enterprise resource planning, financial systems, and other critical applications. So, for sure, it is a integrated system. It is a everything is packed into it. You get the entire suite of whatever is required for a system, whatever is expected from a server system. You get UI enabler. You can even have TN5250, black and green screens, terminal screens where the users can log in and work. You get an inbuilt database in the form of DB2. You have compatibility with multiple programming languages, and everything is everything is tightly connected together and it just works. And these are just small examples of the industries in which AS400 is used: enterprise resource planning, financial systems, but it is used in a lot of industries, including manufacturing, aviation, backends, backends for logistics. Even some casinos use it for the casino software. It is used in a lot of industries. Banks and financial institutions, insurance companies, and so on. So key features of IBM I. Let us go through it quickly. So it has an integrated database, a relational database, that is, it is called DB2 for I. And the database is tightly integrated into the system, offering powerful data processing capabilities. It has an object-oriented architecture but object oriented not from the form point of view of Java related object oriented programming concepts. This is object oriented in the form of the system architecture where everything is an object. We are not talking about the classes and objects kind of thing in your programming. This means that IBM libraries are an object, IBM files are an object, programs are an object, source physical files are objects, compiled programs are objects. Everything is an object. In that way, we are talking over here. So the entire operating system is designed in a way where everything is an object. Security and reliability. IBM provides a high level of security, auditability, and operational stability, which makes it ideal for mission critical applications. There is a lot of auditability for sure. It generates a lot of audit logs at the operating system level. You can even audit the database as it changes through journaling. You can audit the on the fly functionality that the user is using, what everyone is doing on your system. So there's a lot of inbuilt things available. Of course, very high level of security is available, although most of the AS400 systems work in the backend where they are not generally connected to the internet, but that's not always true. The modern AS400 also can and does host web servers. So in that case, it would be connected to the World Wide Web, the internet. But in general, IBM AS400, these machines run at the back end of the company. So it is usually not directly connected to the internet. It is connected within the intranet of the company. But yeah, it does have a high level of security. Every object, the authority for every object can be modified, users, groups, and so on. Operational stability for sure, it is rock solid and stable, and it is ideal for mission critical applications. Job processing. System is optimized for job processing, batch processing, job control, and multitasking operations. So usually financial systems, banks, institutions like insurance companies and so on, they require a lot of batch processing to be done at the end of the day. So it is optimized for that, but it is also optimized for user login, where multiple users work on the system interactively. But also batch is also quite integrated in the system. Job control, you get a lot of options to submit a job in a specific way, control the running jobs, manipulate jobs, and so on. And multitasking operations, for sure. You can have your batch programs run in multiple threads. You can have multiple batch jobs programs. You can have multiple batch jobs running at the same time through multiple subsystems and so on. Application development support. So it says we don't have a limited number of languages. We on AS400 does support multiple programming languages. Like apart from CL, it also supports RPG, which is quite popular. COBOL, Java, C, C++, and so on. Even Python can be, although it is not inbuilt, the support for Python, but it is possible to have a Python interpreter for the AS400. So now we start with CL. What is CL or control language? So CL or control language is a procedural language. It is basically a scripting language, but yeah, procedural language. It is not an object-oriented language used primarily for interacting with the IBM I operating system. So it is like your bash script in Linux or batch file or a batch script for Windows. So it can execute operating system level commands and it can also do a lot of logic processing. You can write if else statements and so on. So it can be used to automate repetitive tasks, control job flows, schedule batch jobs, manage system resources, execute commands, which would be otherwise performed manually. So basically you can automate your manual command execution by writing a CL program. You can write your CL program, you can write your commands that you execute manually in a CL program, and then you compile the CL program, execute it. Your commands will be executed through the CL program automatically. And you can also write some logic around it if you want to execute it in a certain way with a certain If condition is true, then execute it in this way, otherwise execute in that way. You can write loops like other programming languages. So CL scripts, also known as CL programs, are fundamental in managing the system's behavior, controlling system jobs, and interacting with other system objects such as files, devices, and data queues. So it allows you to work with the operating system and do whatever the operating system offers you. Work with files, devices, and data queues, which are part of the OS. So what is it used for? It is used for automation, like backups, reporting, data processing. It can all be automated. Job management, you can manage your jobs in the system, start, stop. You can start a job, submit a job, monitor a job. System interaction. So CL allows users and administrators to control the system programmatically rather than manually typing the commands. File and database handling. CL programs interact with the system's database files, handling records, data queues, and objects efficiently. So if you have already seen this multiple times, so in a sense, CL acts as a glue between the user or the programs and core functionality of the IBM system, enabling robust automation and system control. So it basically automates your operating system tasks. Understanding IBM objects. So before we understand or dive into CL, it's important to understand the concept of objects. In IBM we have already said that everything on IBM or AS400 operating system is an object. Uh, But what is an object? So IBM is built on an object-based architecture where every component of the system is treated as an object. So there are various types of objects on AS400, which are denoted by an extension, which you can look at to find out what type of object this is when you do work obj command. So for example, if you log into an AS400 system, so if you log into an AS400 system and if you do work obj F4 star all library QSys. QSys is the main library. So it shows you the type of the object. So as we say, everything is an object in AS400. So these things are objects as well. What are these? This is a star lib, that is library type of object. And as you scroll down, you should be able to see different types of objects. Although there are a lot of libraries. So yeah, now we can see a different type of object, that is device description, DVD. And as we scroll down, we should be able to see more types of objects like PF, LF, logical file, physical file, other libraries, screens, programs, and so on. So if you want to see all the types of objects, I think there is a drop down over here, object type. This will list all the type of objects that can be present on an AS400 system. So you have a star file, a lot of object types are there. Okay, so let's go back. So some of the major ones, programs, which are PGM, which are executable compiled programs. So after you compile a program, the operating system will create an object for you, that is the executable object of the program, and that object will have a type of star PGM. Then you also have files. Files are like physical file, logical file. It is just an SQL table basically. So the type of that object is going to be star file. Then we have libraries which hold source codes. It can hold other physical files. It can hold a lot of different things. So you can hold save files and so on. So libraries are like folders on your Windows machine. So the type of that is star lib. Then you have messages, messages which are sent from one user to another or from one program to another, which are used for communication. In AS400, we have type star MSG. Devices refers to hardware resources like device D, DVD, device description. User profile are the users in the operating system which can log into AS400. So the interactive session users which can actually log into the TN50 green screen, they are denoted with star USRPRF. It denotes the user profile object. So every user ID will have a object. Every user ID or every user will have his own user profile, and every user profile is basically an object. So every user is basically an object, like everything on AS400. Let's move ahead. Libraries and object storage. In IBM objects are stored in libraries. which serve as logical containers for organizing resources. Libraries themselves are also objects, and there is a system library list that the operating system uses to search for objects. I think this is referring to QSys, the QSys library, that is the system library. When working with CL, you will interact with libraries frequently as you manage the location and accessibility of various objects. So we have covered this topic in one of the videos before. We have explained it in great detail of how the AS400 library and source physical file and library and file structure compares with Windows folders, directories, and files. So you can go check that video. And if you do like these videos, kindly consider subscribing to the channel and do hit that subscribe button. So let's continue. We are being introduced to the basic structure of the CL program. So CL program is a sequence of CL commands that execute specific tasks, basically one after the other. Structure is relatively simple, making it easy for everyone. So the basic structure of the CL program. So CL program starts and ends with end PGM. So we did create multiple CL programs before. If you can, if we can look at an example. So this is one example which we created before. It starts with PGM and it ends with end PGM. So this is a convention. You first start your program, define parameters, you define variable declarations, you initialize those variables. Then you actually have the CL program, so whatever you want to process through the CL program. And then you have end PGM. So each line in a CL program typically begins with a CL command followed by parameters and the attributes. So you can have a display statement. I think this TSPLY is an RPG style of TSPLY and might not actually work on our AS400 machine. We would require a proper send program message or the entire display, or we can possibly test it if we have time. So DSPLY is basically a command. It has to be a command. If it is not, it is not going to work. So this is not going to work. Display is a keyword in COBOL. But if you want to display anything, you can probably display it with send program message. That should work. So let's move. Command entry and prompting. IBM provides several ways to execute CL commands through command line. So you can manually type commands at the command line, accessible via a terminal or an emulator. So yeah, these are normal AS400 commands. Programs, you can group multiple commands into a CL program, which can be executed as a single entity. So what we can do is you can basically group multiple commands together to automate your work. You can write those commands one time in the CL program and execute your CL program. So all those programs will get executed automatically. All those commands will get executed automatically when your CL program is run. Batch jobs, CL programs can be executed as part of batch job running in the background without user interaction. So that is that. We can have CL commands run everywhere on command line through the CL program and through batch job also. One of the great features of CL is command prompting. So we have seen command prompting before. We want to look at an example. The command prompting basically means if you're writing a new command, the first thing is that you can just press F4. I'm sorry. So yeah, so you can basically type a command like chgvar that we did before. So chgvar command is for changing the variable and type F4. So when you type F4, you'll be presented with all the parameters that the command accepts. You just have to type, you just have to enter the value of the parameters. So variable one, for example, value is going to be hello world, for example. Comment if you want to type dummy statement and press enter. So it writes the code for you. It writes it in the proper format in which it will work just by pressing F4, entering all the information in the form and pressing enter. So you don't have to specifically write open bracket, close bracket, comment, and so on. It will do it for you. So this is very helpful while writing CL. Command prompting. When you type commands but aren't aware of the parameters, you can press F4. So we wanted to test the display. We can just do DSPLY and F4. So no, display is not found. So this is basically incorrect. There is no command called display in CL. Okay. So for example, typing DSPLIB and pressing F4 will bring the prompt for the display library command where you can enter or select the parameters that we already tested for change variable. So the next point is the importance of CL in daily operations. I think we have already seen this before. This just gives more examples. For IBMI administrators, CL is indispensable. A lot of things can be automated or controlled through CL. Job scheduling and monitoring, automation of jobs like submit job, backup and recovery. So, or administrators usually require backups, auto backups every day, and so on. So that can be automated with CL. File management, moving files, processing files, etc. User management, providing authorities, auditing frequently on a certain frequency, extracting files, creating reports, and so on. So many organizations with IBMI systems rely on CL for the critical process. For example, daily financial reports, system monitoring, large-scale batch processing are often done using CL scripts. So what are the different ways in you can write CL program? You can use the SEU. SEU is the inbuilt editor, source edit utility, which is built into AS400, which has a lot of functionalities, but it is not being maintained by IBM, unfortunately. But it is still used and it is a very popular editor. IBM should have maintained it. A terminal editor is very useful. So it is now considered legacy and people now use alternatives. So RDI is an IDE which is Eclipse based and but RDI is licensed separately, so the IS400 owner has to purchase a license for RDI. So these days you also have Visual Studio Code, which allows you to edit source codes directly, which we saw last time in one of the previous videos. If you have not seen it, do check it out. Visual Studio for IBMI, created by Code4i. Then we have Program Development Manager. I have no idea what is this. Uh, I do not think that this is actually an IDE. Let's see. Let's Google and try to find out. So Program Development Manager is basically work with members using PDM. Okay, work member PDM. So if you edit it through work member PDM, it is going to edit it with the SEU. So I don't see how this is different from SEU. Okay, so this is basically going to launch your SEU. So it combines. Okay, so combination is something even different. Okay, fine. Let's continue back. Running a CL program. So once the program is written, we can compile it. So compilation can be done using CRT-CL PGM. I think CRT PGM should be the command for compilation. Is CRT-CL PGM actually a command? Let's see. Yeah, CRT-CL PGM is the command. So you can compile the program using this, or the easiest way is to go to the work with members using PDM, do 14 option. It will automatically open CRT-CL PGM. So when you compile it in a specific library, it will create an object for you in that library, which is an executable object, and you can directly call that executable object. So we saw the basics of IBM I and CL, and yeah, that is all. That is it, and that is all for today's video. If you do like watching these videos, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.